April 1996. And I have a little sleep hair going on because I just got up from a nap. Because I worked very long hours this past week and decided I needed to treat myself. But that's neither here nor there. April 1996, I'm still working at Frame Art as a picture framer, and that's all I can remember from that time. So we're going to get to the books, and the first book I read in April of 1996 is When the Bough Breaks by Jonathan Kellerman. This is the first of 38 Alex Delaware books. I had to check the name. So in this book, there's this really shitty psychiatrist, and he's murdered. Police can't figure anything out, but there might be a witness. This little, I believe she's an 8-year-old girl. They call in Alex Delaware, who's a psychologist, to work with this 8-year-old girl and try to get any information she has to solve this murder. 38 books in the series. And I would guess Jonathan Kellerman has written things outside the series. I don't know, because I think this book was fine. I don't think I've read anything else at all by Jonathan Kellerman. But if you're looking for a series, maybe give it a try. Could be your thing. Then we went from a mystery to some science fiction. The Currents of Space by Isaac Asimov. This is the second book in the Galactic Empire series, which of course ties into the Robot series and the Foundation series. So Tantor, or however you would say it, rules like half the galaxy. The other half is fighting to keep out from under their thumb, for lack of a better way to put it. And there's some pretty violent and vile places. And there's a planet full of slaves. I think their masters are on a different planet. But there's a guy named Rick who used to be a scientist, but his memory was wiped out. And now he's a slave in these mines. His memory's coming back, and he realizes there's a great catastrophe coming that could destroy the world he's on and the world that the masters are on, if I've got all this correct. But no one's going to believe him, because he's just a lousy slave. It's Isaac Asimov. You know it's got to be good. And then, a book that I've kept since 1996 in wonderful condition. I think this is the original copy I had. I don't think I ever got rid of this. This is Mars Attacks, Martian Death Trap by Nathan Archer. And I believe this came out around the time we had that Mars Attacks resurgence with the Tim Burton movie. You're going to watch me look something up on my phone. I don't do this very often, but I want to see when the Tim Burton movie came out. So I'm jumping on IMDb, and we're going to type in Mars Attacks 1996. Look at that. This is going to give me a month. Nope, just says 96. But there you go. So this was the first of 2 novels, and in this one, there's a group of people that get trapped in this big spooky mansion that has secret passages and things, and it's under siege. They're being attacked by the Martians. And I really dug this because I love that isolated under siege kind of story. You know, Assault on Precinct 13, The Fog. John Carpenter seems to like that kind of story as well. But I liked the smaller, this wasn't, the whole world being invaded by the Martians. It was just this small group of people in this isolated location. Really cool cover. And exclusive trading. It says trading card, but there's actually 2 of them in there. And that looks like Dan Brereton. Look at that craziness. This one is actually the cover to the second book, which we will get to eventually. But it has on the back little. So maybe that's why this is the exclusive trading card. This one doesn't count. I don't know. But there you go. Good book. I've been meaning to reread this one, and because see if it holds up. See if I enjoy it as much as I did back when I read it the first time. Book number 4, The Lost World by Michael Crichton. And yes, that is the title. It is just called The Lost World. Of course, it is the sequel to Jurassic Park. It is quite a bit different from the movie Jurassic Park The Lost World, or The Lost World Jurassic Park, whatever the movie's called. I tend not to rewatch that one. Similar-ish, but they took a lot of liberties. Basically, there's a guy that believes that there might be some place where dinosaurs still exist. He doesn't know about John Hammond and his experiments and the cloning of the dinosaurs and all that. He thinks there just might be a literal lost world where dinosaurs still exist. He tries to get Ian Malcolm to go with him to try to find this place. Ian Malcolm says no. Guy goes off on his own, and then bad things happen, and a rescue mission has to be put together to find him. And he ends up on Site B, which is where, a lot of the dinosaur experimentation was going on. So he didn't find dinosaurs that survived extinction. He does find dinosaurs. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but it does have dinosaurs killing people, so I was pretty happy with it. Next up. All right, this I do not have the original book. Next up was X-Men Mutant Empire Book 1 Siege by Christopher Golden. I have the omnibus that came out a year or two ago, which has all 3 books in the trilogy. And basically, the whole thing is about Magneto gains control of a Sentinel factory and wants to create a mutant empire, and the X-Men are trying to stop him. It's Christopher Golden, so even though, as usual, for those who have heard me say this before, I'm not a big fan of the X-Men. Depends on the writer kind of thing. Some of the characters I really like, but generally depends on the writer. Christopher Golden, one of those writers. Good fun. And of course, the other 2 books will pop up eventually, so you'll see this again. Then we have Sunset Express by Robert Crace. Let's see if I have any notes. Just that it's the 6th Elvis Cole book. In this one, there's I believe it's a restaurateur is murdered. Or no, the restaurateur is on trial for murdering his wife, and the lawyer hires Elvis Cole to find evidence that he didn't do it, somebody else did it. It's suspected that this disgraced police officer may have fabricated the evidence to get back in the good graces of the city of Los Angeles. So Elvis Cole and his partner Joe Pike start digging in to the down and dirty world of Los Angeles. And it's, again, I keep saying this for so many of these authors. It's Robert Crace. It's an Elvis Cole book. Good stuff. It's like just below the Spencer Robert B. Parker books for me. All right, a little nonfiction with a long title. Rush Limbaugh is a Big Fat Idiot and Other Observations by Al Franken. Now, I know Al Franken had there's some controversy with him grabbing someone's ass or boob. I don't remember the specifics. But way back in the day, he was just a funny dude doing political humor. And this book was hilarious. Just a bunch of political humor essays, and I believe a short story of basically all these right-wing politicians that were able to avoid going to Vietnam, politicians and political figures. Isn't that different than a politician? Anyway, so you wrote a short story about all these people that avoided going to Vietnam, but are all gung ho America, and the story is about them in a platoon in Vietnam, something like that. And there's like an essay about the easiest job in the world, which is Rush Limbaugh's fact checkers, stuff like that. I believe this is the book where he said something that has stuck with me, whether or not you agree. That I don't remember if he said Republicans or conservatives, but we'll say conservatives. Conservatives are like little children who look at America, or conservatives look at America the way little children look at their parents and see them as perfect. There's no fault with their parents. Their parents are everything they could hope for. Of course, this doesn't apply to every child, but little children look up to their parents, see them as perfect beings. And liberals look at America the way adults look at their parents, as people they love and respect. Again, doesn't apply to everybody. People they love and respect, but realize that they are imperfect. And that has stuck with me, and I can see that. I don't know that it applies perfectly, but I know people who will go to their grave saying America is perfect. It is the best, the greatest country in the world. No other country tops America in any way. And of course, I know people that understand that, yes, this is our country, and there are some good things about our country, but there are plenty of things that are wrong with it and should be fixed. But anyway, so back in 96, I read that little thing that he said. And finally, the last book that I read in April of 1996 was Jackals by Charles Grant. Sometimes there's an L, so I had to look. Charles Grant. I always try to write down the names, the titles, things the way it is on the book. So sometimes his books just say Charles Grant. Sometimes they say Charles L. Grant. There you go. Jackals. So you got this guy, his name is Jim Scott, and he runs a group of hunters. They're hunting jackals. Jackals are these packs of humans that just are up and down the roadways and highways and byways of America, just attacking people. And I can't remember if they're supernatural. When I was looking at the description, it says sometimes they run on all fours, sometimes their eyes shine red in the headlights. But this Jim Scott, his family was killed by these jackals, and now he and another group of people in their area of the country, and apparently there are jackals everywhere, are hunting jackals, and this mysterious woman shows up after being attacked by the jackals, shows up at Jim Scott's place, but she's got a secret, but she's looking for his help. And it's Charles Grant, for me, is a very atmospheric writer. At least back in the day, that's the feeling I would get reading his stuff. It was much more setting the scene and the mood and building sort of a dread. I don't remember a lot of any graphic stuff or violence, but it is possible, based on the premise, that this had some of that, but I don't recall. I've always looked at him as more atmospheric. That's it. That is what I read in April of 1996. So my question I'm just going to put it out there right now because I think I've sort of done this most of these videos, but it's going to be the question for every single video in this series. Do any of these books catch your interest? What on this list would you be interested to read? That's just going to be the general question. But my specific question is, do you like a book that's giving you some extra stuff? And is extra stuff something that might get you to pick up a book? I was a huge fan of Mars Attacks, the trading card series. Before the books, before the movie, when I heard the movie was coming out, I was very excited because I was a fan of the trading cards. So I was going to buy this book, whether or not it had the cards inside. But, excuse me. There are some things, I would say, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there are probably some things that I've picked up because of extras. I've been on the fence about it. Oh, that book looks interesting. Maybe I'll pick it up someday. Maybe, if I get a first edition, it's going to come with some stickers or a bookmark or something special about it. I guess I will pick up that first edition. I have absolutely done that. So yeah, I'm a sucker. Now, it wouldn't get me to buy something that I have no interest in. I've mentioned many times, not a Dean Koontz fan. If Dean Koontz next book came out with a glow-in-the-dark cover and autographed book plates and all this other stuff, I'm still not going to pick it up. It doesn't matter. I'm not interested in reading Dean Koontz. But, something I'm going to pick up anyway makes the extras kind of moot. That's just a bonus for me. But it will influence me if I'm on the fence, or at least, I was going to wait. I'll pick it up when I have the chance or the next paycheck. But, if I get it right now, sure, I might have to not pick up some pizza rolls this week. But I can do that. I can live without those pizza rolls for the week. I'm going to get this book. I mean, technically, I could live without the book, of course, but you know what I'm saying. How do you feel about that? Do you care about extras? Is it just a nice little bonus? Doesn't influence your purchasing in any way? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. That is not the video I'm doing. We try to be polite here on my channel. And now I'm going to ask a bonus question just to see if anyone's paying attention. And I've thought about this before. Do any of my regular people anyway, watch the video past the point where I start talking about putting things in the comments below? Because I noticed I was watching some YouTube videos, and there are quite a few people that do the like and subscribe thing at the front of the video, in the middle of the video. They don't wait until the end. So I'm just curious, do you watch till the very end? Or once I get to the part where I'm basically just repeating myself in every video, do you shut it off at that point? Do you shut it off before that? But let me know about this in the comments below if you're watching and see this question. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you care to follow me on other social media, I'm still on Twitter at Ronan5757, and on Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, it's Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I have for you this week on the Reading Remembrances video, not the Low Budget Review Show. Until next time, read more books.